Chosen one, before you hear anything else in this message, take a breath and feel the atmosphere around you. Something is shifting. Something is moving. There is a weight in the air that isn't ordinary, and you can sense it in your spirit even if you can't explain it. God has been watching you quietly, carefully, and patiently, and now He is preparing a rise in your life that will not just surprise people. It will shock your family to the point of silence. You may not feel powerful right now. You may not feel close to the promise. You may even feel tired, overlooked, or forgotten. But that's exactly where the story begins, because the ones who rise the highest in God's plan are usually the ones who walk through seasons of heaviness nobody else noticed. The world saw your stillness, but God saw your struggle. The world saw your delays, but God saw your development. And your family, the very people who thought they knew everything about you, are about to realize they never truly understood who you are in God's eyes. There is a moment coming, sooner than you, and think we're the same. People who brushed you off, underestimated you, or quietly doubted you will stand in shock. Not because of anything loud you did, but because of what God is about to do through you. Your rise won't be small. It won't be quiet. And it won't be something they can explain away. God said He will make it undeniable. This message is meant for you if you feel it tightening your chest, tugging your spirit, or making you pay closer attention. You didn't click this by accident. You were led here because God wants you to hear this warning. Your rise is coming, but not everyone around you is ready for it. And that's why He needs you alert, steady, and spiritually awake. If you feel this message reaching your spirit right now, type 1.1.1.1 in the comments. Not for the algorithm, not for show, but as a sign of agreement that you are ready for God's timing. And before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe. These messages are not random. They are guidance for the journey God has you on. And if this message truly touches your spirit and you feel the need to support the channel, you can also send a super thanks. It helps this work continue and reach more chosen ones like you. Now, listen closely. Your rise will not be comfortable. It will not be quiet. And it will not be easy to hide. God is about to move you into a chapter that exposes everything He's been shaping in private. This is the moment where the version of you that your family thought they understood begins to fade. And the version of you God designed begins to stand in full light. And trust me, they are not ready for what's coming. Chosen one! Every rise begins with a season of silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, stretching kind. The type of silence where you start questioning yourself, wondering why your life feels paused while everyone else seems to be moving forward. But here's the truth most people never understand. Silence is where God does His deepest work. You went through a period where life felt strangely still. Opportunities slowed down. Conversations dried up. People who were once close drifted away. It felt like the world was closing its doors while you were knocking with everything you had. And what made it even harder was that your family didn't notice any of it. They saw your face, but they had no idea what was happening in your spirit. They didn't know about the prayers you whispered in the dark. They didn't see the nights you stayed awake, trying to hold yourself together. They didn't feel the weight on your chest when you got up every morning. All they saw was silence. All they saw was stillness. But God saw a seed. Every seed goes underground before it grows. It disappears. It goes silent. It breaks open in a place nobody can see. And the people above the ground assume nothing is happening. But deep in the soil, God is shaping something powerful. That's exactly what He did with you. Your silent season wasn't punishment. It wasn't failure. It wasn't delay. It was preparation. God hid you on purpose. He separated you on purpose. He slowed things down on purpose. Because He needed to pull you away from noise, expectations, and opinions. He needed you alone so He could work on you without distractions. And while your family thought nothing was changing, everything was changing. See, the problem is that people, especially family, often judge you based on who you used to be. They focus on the visible things, money, job, status, progress. And when they can't see your spiritual growth, they assume nothing is happening. But God doesn't build destiny on the surface. He builds it quietly, underneath in places humans don't look. You may have felt invisible during that season, overlooked, misunderstood, maybe even dismissed. And that created its own kind of heartbreak. But what you didn't realize was that the silence was forming the strength you needed for the next chapter. God was shaping your patience, your endurance, your discernment, your emotional maturity, your spiritual sight. These were things you couldn't have learned if you were surrounded by noise and attention. That silent season was the cocoon, and chosen one. A cocoon isn't a prison, it's a transformation room. Your family thought you were stuck. They thought you were the same. They thought nothing in your life was moving. But God was getting ready to bring you out in a way that will catch every person by surprise, including them. This is why your rise will shock your family, because they only saw the silence. They never saw the shaping. Chosen one, one of the hardest parts of your journey hasn't been the world doubting you. It's been your own family misjudging you. The people who should have known your heart the most often understood it the least. And for a long time, that created a quiet pain inside you that you never fully spoke about. Your family has only seen certain sides of you. They saw your childhood mistakes. They saw your awkward seasons. They saw your moments of confusion, your struggles, your failures, your pauses. They remember who you were, not who you are becoming. So they formed an image of you in their minds and locked you inside it. To them, you were the one who never quite got it right. The one who wasn't as successful as the others. The one who they didn't expect to rise. And because they were familiar with you, they became blind to your growth. Familiarity can do that. People stop paying attention. They stop looking deeper. They assume you will always stay the same. But God didn't design you to stay the same. The sad truth is this: familiarity makes people underestimate you. And in many families, people unconsciously compete with one another. They compare, they measure, they rank. Even when they never say it out loud, you can feel it. You can feel the quiet disbelief in their tone when you talk about your dreams. You can feel the doubt hiding behind their forced smiles. Sometimes you can even feel their jealousy before you have anything to be jealous of. And it's quiet, subtle, hidden, but you feel it. What they didn't realize was that while they were judging you by the past, God was shaping you for the future. While they whispered about your struggles, heaven whispered about your purpose. While they assumed you were behind, God was positioning you ahead. Your family didn't know the battles you fought alone. They didn't see the internal wars you faced. They didn't understand the spiritual pressure you carried. They didn't know that every setback was forging something sacred inside you. They thought the situation was breaking you, but God was building you. This is why the rise that's coming will shock them so deeply. Because to them, you weren't supposed to become anything special. You weren't supposed to break generational limits. You weren't supposed to rise above the patterns they accepted. But God doesn't ask people for permission when He chooses someone. You were chosen in a way that your family didn't recognize. You were blessed in a way they couldn't see. You were being prepared for a future they never imagined. That's why God allowed their misjudgment. It wasn't to hurt you. It was to humble you and hide you until the right moment. Because when God reveals what He placed inside you, the shock will be so strong that even the people closest to you won't know what to say. Chosen one! Their misunderstanding was part of the plan. Their disbelief was part of the plan. Their misjudgment was part of the plan. God let them see the old version of you so they would be stunned by the new version of you. And trust me, that moment is coming. Chosen one! The part of your journey that nobody saw, not even your family, was the spiritual upgrade God was doing inside you. While everyone around you was focused on the outside, money, image, progress, God was working in the unseen places of your spirit. And those inner changes carry more power than anything people measure on the surface. Your spiritual upgrade didn't happen all at once. It came piece by piece through moments that felt painful, confusing, or lonely. You didn't realize it at the time, but every hardship became a spiritual tool. Every disappointment sharpened a gift. Every moment of isolation deepened your connection to God. You learned how to listen, not just to the world, but to your spirit. You learned how to sense danger before it reached you. You learned how to trust God even when nothing made sense. You learned how to stay calm in storms that would have broken others. This was not weakness. This was transformation. God was rewiring you. He was repairing old wounds. He was breaking destructive patterns. He was removing fears you didn't know were holding you back. He was strengthening parts of you that were once fragile. And while the world saw delays, heaven saw development. Maturity grew inside you. Discernment sharpened. Your awareness of people and situations deepened. Your intuition became stronger. And here's the part your family never understood. You were becoming spiritually sensitive. You started feeling shifts before they happened. You sensed when someone wasn't genuine. You picked up on energy, emotions, and intentions that others ignored. You began to walk with a different sense of clarity. All of this was an upgrade from God. He wasn't preparing you for a normal life. He was preparing you for a rise that requires spiritual strength. Because what's coming isn't small. What's coming isn't ordinary. What's coming isn't something you can handle with the old version of yourself. He had to upgrade your faith. He had to upgrade your purpose. He had to upgrade your confidence. He had to upgrade your resilience. Your spirit was becoming stronger than your circumstances. And that's dangerous in the best way. Because when you reach a point where your spirit is stronger than your environment, nothing around you can stop what God is doing. Your family didn't see this upgrade happening. They only saw you becoming quiet. They thought you were withdrawing. They thought you were tired. They thought you were giving up. But you were leveling up in silence. You were healing. You were awakening. You were growing. You were disconnecting from what no longer served you. And God was watching all of it, shaping you for a moment that is approaching fast. Chosen one, the rise that's coming is not based on luck. It's based on the spiritual work God has already completed in you. And when that rise begins, the strength inside you will be impossible to ignore. Your family will not be able to understand how you endured so much and still became the one who rose above all of it. Your spiritual upgrade is the reason your rise will shock them. They expected the old you, but God is about to reveal the upgraded you. Chosen one, every story has a moment where everything shifts. A moment where God steps in and flips the page you didn't even know was about to turn. You are standing closer to that moment than you realize. The turning point in your life is not far away. It has already been set in motion by God. You've been feeling it, a strange tension, a heaviness mixed with excitement, an inner knowing that something is coming, but you can't explain it to anyone. That's because God already scheduled your rise long before you understood why so many things in your life felt delayed, blocked, or paused. Heaven has a timeline. Heaven has appointments. Heaven has seasons. And your season of rising is approaching its exact appointed hour. The turning point God has set for you will not look logical. It won't match your struggles. It won't match your resources. It won't match your current situation. That's how you know it's divine. God specializes in bringing breakthroughs from places you don't expect. And this rise won't be subtle. It won't be a small improvement. It won't be a slow climb that people can explain away. It will be sudden. God often allows the hardest battles right before the breakthrough because the pressure you feel is the confirmation that something is shifting. You may feel tired right now. You may feel drained. You may feel like you've been stretched to your limit. That is not a sign of defeat. It's the final push before the breakthrough God promised. Your turning point is going to reveal why you had to walk through so much, why the timeline felt strange, why the doors didn't open sooner, why the people you loved drifted away, why certain friendships ended, why certain opportunities didn't work out. God wasn't punishing you. He was protecting your rise. If the blessing came earlier, the wrong people would have taken advantage of you. If the breakthrough came too soon, you wouldn't have had the spiritual strength to hold it. If the doors opened before you were ready, you might have walked into traps disguised as blessings. God needed you fully prepared before the turning point arrived. And here's the part your family will never be ready for. Your rise will happen at a time when they think your life is stagnant. They aren't expecting anything from you. They aren't imagining anything great for you. They aren't thinking about your destiny. That's why the shock will hit them so hard. They misread your quiet. They misread your waiting. They misread your stillness. What they saw as nothing happening was God positioning you. The moment He lifts you, the shift will be so powerful that even the most doubtful family members will be forced to recognize that this is not something you did. This is something God did. Chosen one. The turning point is not coming someday. It is coming soon, very soon. And when it arrives, nothing and no one will be able to stop the rise God set in motion for you. Chosen one. When God begins to lift you, the shift will not only be visible to you, it will be visible to the very people who thought they understood your entire story. And the first wave of shock will hit your family, not because they are evil, not because they wanted to harm you, but because they never expected anything powerful to come from the one they overlooked the most. Family has a way of seeing your beginnings so clearly that they forget to imagine your future. They remember who you were as a child. They remember your struggles, your mistakes, your insecurities. And because of that, they often believe deep down that you will always stay in that old version. So when God begins elevating you, their minds won't know how to process it. At first, they may go silent, the type of silence that feels heavy, not peaceful. The type of silence that tells you they are observing you differently. They will replay old memories of you in their heads and try to understand how the same person they underestimated is suddenly moving with strength, clarity and favor they never saw before. That confusion is part of their awakening. Some will be shocked because they judged you too early. Some will be shocked because they compared you unfairly. Some will be shocked because they believed others would rise instead of you. But God doesn't choose based on human ranking. He chooses based on purpose. And when God elevates a chosen one, the rise is so undeniable that even those who doubted you must sit with the truth. God's hand is on you. The family reaction won't be simple. You may see mixed emotions, a quiet awe because they didn't expect God to use you like this. A shift in the way they speak to you, softer, more careful, almost as if they are trying to understand this new version of you. A sudden curiosity, asking more questions, watching your steps, trying to fit the new you into the old version of you they once knew. Some may even feel a sting of jealousy, not because they hate you, but because your growth exposes the areas in their own lives where they stayed comfortable. When someone in the family rises beyond the limits everyone accepted, it shakes the entire foundation. Your rise will force them to rethink what is possible. Your rise will change the way they treat you. Your rise will shift the way they see themselves. This is why God chose you for this assignment. Not to embarrass anyone, not to create conflict, but to awaken the family, to break cycles, to challenge old patterns, to show them what God can do when He places His hand on someone for a purpose. And here's the most powerful part. After the initial shock, some of them will come to respect you in ways they never have before. They will come to appreciate the strength they once misunderstood. They will see that your rise wasn't luck. It wasn't chance, and it wasn't pretending. It was God. Chosen one. Your family shock isn't meant to hurt them. It's meant to wake them up, and it will. Chosen one. Your rise is not random. It is not a coincidence. It is not something that just happened because you tried harder or waited longer. Your rise has a purpose tied to it. A purpose much bigger than success, achievement, or recognition. God is not lifting you just so you can shine. He is lifting you so something in your family line can finally break. For generations, there have been patterns in your family that no one else confronted. Patterns of fear, patterns of settling, patterns of silence, patterns of emotional wounds, patterns of spiritual blindness, patterns of small thinking. And every generation saw the same cycles repeat until God placed something different inside you. A strength that doesn't match your upbringing, a vision that doesn't match your environment, a courage that doesn't match what you went through. You weren't meant to continue the pattern. You were meant to interrupt it. This is why your rise carries weight. This is why it feels so spiritual. This is why your battles were so intense. You weren't just fighting for yourself. You were breaking what others ignored. You were healing what others hid. You were enduring storms, so the next generation wouldn't have to. This is what God saw in you long before you understood it. Your rise is not about proving your family wrong. Your rise is about proving that God's purpose is stronger than every limit placed on your bloodline. And that is why your family will be shocked. Not just because you succeed, but because your rise exposes what they accepted as normal. When you step into higher purpose, your life becomes a reminder to others that settling was never God's plan, that fear was never meant to be inherited, that brokenness didn't have to be passed down, that dreams are allowed to exist, that spiritual gifts are real, that obedience carries power. Your rise is a message from God to your entire family line. It stops here. It breaks here. It changes here. And He chose you to deliver that message without speaking a word. Your life will say it. Your transformation will say it. Your elevation will say it. Some in your family will be inspired. Some will reflect on their own choices. Some will feel humbled. Some may feel uncomfortable. But every single one of them will notice. God didn't choose the strongest person in your family. He chose the one who was willing, the one who didn't quit, the one who kept believing even when everything fell apart, the one who carried wounds but still walked forward. Your rise is meant to open doors your family never knew existed. It's meant to create new standards. It's meant to shift the atmosphere around you. It's meant to prepare the way for those coming after you. Chosen one, this rise isn't about fame. It's about destiny. It's about calling. It's about healing. It's about breaking and rebuilding what needed to change for a long time. Your family will witness it. They will feel it. They will grow because of it. That is the true purpose behind your rise. Chosen one, as your rise begins to unfold, there are forces at work that you cannot see. Not all energy around you is positive. Not all eyes are watching with goodwill. God has allowed this moment to come, but that does not mean the enemy will not attempt to slow, distract, or intimidate you. The jealousy, the envy, the doubts, the silent opposition, they will all show up. Some will be subtle, almost invisible. Some will be loud, obvious, and unnerving. But none of it can stop what God has planned. This is why protection is essential. God has already placed shields around you, spiritual guards you cannot see, divine boundaries that no human can break. The people, situations, and energies that could have harmed your path are being held at bay. What looks like coincidence or timing is actually God's hand, moving you carefully and intentionally. Every step you take is under divine guidance. Every moment of fear you feel is actually a test of faith, a checkpoint confirming that you are ready to move forward. And then there are the signs, the subtle, quiet confirmations that your rise has begun. You will notice doors opening that seemed locked forever, opportunities appearing when you least expect them, people reaching out who were once distant, clarity arriving in moments that previously felt confusing, strength emerging when your body or mind feels tired. These signs may seem small at first, but each is a confirmation that God is moving, that your rise is no longer invisible, and that the family who once misjudged, you will now witness what they could not anticipate. Your rise will shock them, yes, but more importantly, it will inspire, awaken, and redefine what they thought was possible. They will see a person transformed, not by human effort alone, but by God's unseen hand, guiding every struggle, every weight, and every moment of preparation. They will witness how faith, endurance, and divine purpose turn silence into power, waiting into action, and overlooked potential into undeniable prominence. Chosen one, hold firm, stand strong. Keep your eyes on God and not on the reactions of others. Your journey is not about their approval, it's about your destiny. When your family sees the fullness of what God has prepared in you, they will understand, finally, that your rise was never random. It was planned, protected, and executed by God Himself. Their shock will give way to awe. Their doubt will dissolve into recognition. And their understanding will grow, even if slowly. So now, as this message reaches you, remember this, comment 1.11 to mark your awareness and alignment with God's timing. Subscribe for guidance on the journey ahead. And if this resonates deep in your spirit, send a super thanks to honor the truth of this word. Your rise is here. It is unstoppable. It is undeniable. It is divinely orchestrated. Chosen one. God said it, and it is so. Your family will be shocked, and your destiny will shine brighter than anyone could imagine.